Hello everyone to the first little live sharing here of the new year of 2021. What a start to the year. I don't know about you, but it's I don't think been quite the yay 2020 is finally over, now it will be good kind of start of the year that we were maybe hoping for. Interesting times, and I think we're now really realizing of what a challenging time is still going to lie ahead. And well, obviously I don't know about you, but I'm certainly feeling quite a level of overwhelm and exhaustion, and just kind of being fed up with it all, obviously. But it's really being sort of pushed up to the surface again. I was the other day, last week actually, I offered a free yoga session just to welcome the new year. I thought it was a cute idea, something nice to do. And with the title Welcoming the New Year or something like that, Welcoming 2021. And then I thought, okay, so what do I do? How do I do this? Because I don't really teach the kind of instructions like, inhale all the good and exhale, let all go of everything you don't need, and that kind of thing. That nothing wrong with that, but I don't really sort of give those sort of instructions with all of those intentions to hold in your practice and all of that. Those of you who've done yoga with me know that that's not necessarily the way I speak in the class, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my way. So I was thinking, okay, so now I said I'm doing a New Year's yoga practice. What does that really mean? How am I going to do this? What does that mean? What do I need? What do I feel like I need right now to, kind of really mark in the way the kind of beginning of this new year? And I was at the time rereading actually one of my favorite textbooks, The Stillness of Life by Dr. Rollin Becker. It's about osteopathic philosophy. Absolutely love this book, and there was this chapter that I was just that weekend reading about stillness, and it was a really wonderful reminder, really mostly obviously in the context of touch and the stillness that we use within us when we give a treatment, as well as the stillness that we're looking for in the receiver, and how that together obviously really comes into power in this connection during a treatment that we give, giving this kind of unassuming, non-judgmental quality to our touch and to our session. And that very much also resonates with all of the things that I've been talking about before, about listening, about true listening that is with no judgment and no prejudice, and not many of us really master. It requires daily practice. In the book, I just want to quote like a little sentence. It's about the stillness and working with this stillness that he was referring to here in the context of, a treatment, osteopathy, or our body work, same. It's about allowing the physiologic function to manifest its own potency rather than us using blind external force. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. So there is this stillness within which lies the ultimate potency, a power that is at the the heart of manifesting life, the heart of the expression that is life. It's the basis of osteopathy, but it's actually just as much the basis of all Eastern philosophy and viewpoint of health and a balanced state of being. It's in the teachings of the Buddha, it's in the yoga teachings, the philosophy. There we read about the Atman, the definition of the self, and the Atman is, I read recently, kind of the original meaning of that interpretation was the universal rhythmic force, the living breath of life. So it's really in that still point inside of us, in that real quiet place, in that kind of coming home to our true self, where lies this potency of how life wants to be expressed. And that is health. That is, to me, like really the definition of health. It's in this stillness where our blueprint lies, like the design as we are made. And that means also all of the information that defines health lies already within us in that stillness. And so when we work with our clients through the touch, we facilitate that kind of coming back to that stillness for it to then be expressed again and restore the balance in the area that has got out of communication or out of balance, or whatever you want to describe it. And for me, it's kind of, there was another really beautiful sentence. It's the stillness is that which centers every molecule of being of that living body. And to me, that is really within the infinity of all possibility. It's this, to which everything comes back to, but from where everything is also being expressed again. From where everything comes back to where everything comes back to, but from where everything expands, from where we expand into our life form. In German, there is this beautiful word. Doesn't quite mean stillness, but it's kind of like that. It's der Ruhepol. Ruhe being like the still part, and pole is in the sense of a pole, as in not a dancing pole, but the North Pole or the South Pole, as in polarity. And it's that fulcrum, it's that anchor point in which is this stillness, and I love that. I love that word. To me, it's that. Actually, it describes it even better than stillness. And before this talk, I thought, right, just kind of, I don't know, look it up, translate, Google, whatever, I don't know. Just use one of those translators to see if there was an actual English word, because I didn't know whether there was an English word for this, for Ruhepol. And the translator I used gave me, and I just thought it was just wonderful, translates it as haven of tranquility. How poetic is that? Love that. So it's more than just stillness. It's the Ruhepol. Really. And yeah, I mean, for sure, it relates to the body work that we do, and the therapy, the touch, very much. It really defines the level of connection that we go into, because it's that stillness that we want to connect to, and that means that we're really having to connect from our true self to the true self of the receiver, because that is where the stillness lies. And but it also really, and since last year was not quite so much about physical touch, very much relates to our own personal practice too, whether that's in your meditation, your qigong, your yoga, whatever. And I've been really actually enjoying exploring those principles in the yoga practice, and have kind of really brought many things together that I've always been doing in the yoga but haven't been sort of really bringing out into some sort of explanation. But now it's kind of, with this, it's kind of this principle of the stillness is really clarifying a lot for me of what's happening in my own practice, and the way I teach yoga, and what I want to be teaching and sharing actually as well. When we meditate, we might be familiar with like the noise of our thoughts, and we might not find it always that easy to find the stillness at all, but we know it's really, where the shift is going to happen, that moment where there is maybe just literally a moment of stillness. The same in our physical practice, it's that maybe you've observed that, but that's something that is how I perceive often tension or too much effort. I perceive it as noise very often, and some of you who've done yoga with me might have heard me even kind of describe that, like, in terms of noise, or reducing the noise in the body in the way that we are practicing. And it's really when you bring everything really on a molecular, cellular level into unity, into this stillness, then we have probably all experienced this deliciousness of the practice. It's just blissful. And so this is like the time to nurture the stillness, I think. I have a few principles that are really important to me in my work, and what builds the foundation of what I do. But I would say that the stillness, the Ruhepol, and listening is really up there. It's really up there on the list. So I was thinking maybe we just, if you're watching live or on replay, it doesn't really matter, but just invite you to maybe have a little sit in stillness, and simply observe for a moment and listen. So if you're up for it, then make yourself comfortable. I've chosen to actually sit on my sofa today, so I'm sitting cross-legged, but I'm able to lean back, which means that I'm comfortable I'm bringing my body more into a still place. It actually means, or one aspect of that is comfort. And comfort we often associate with obviously the physical, but it's also important to feel mentally and emotionally comfortable with where you are to do your practice. So choose your setting, make yourself really comfortable so that you can more easily invite the stillness, not only into the body, but also into the body, and into all aspects of your being, really. And maybe you want to close your eyes, or maybe you want to keep your eyes open, but then I definitely invite you to look away from the screen, because I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything. Look into the distance, to the horizon. That is a good option if you prefer that. And check in if the position you've chosen is still good, it might have been good a minute ago, but you might have already changed your mind. So feel free to make any change that will make it better. And it could be something external, like you're maybe a little bit chilly, you're not warm enough, or there's like a crease in your jumper somehow that is bothering you, or there is a noise coming in from the other room and you need to close the door. So if it's something external, then really go ahead and change it, because you can. And then check in with your own proprioception of how you're sitting. Is there really ease and comfort in every part of the body? Are you resting every part of the body as best as you can? You're resting your hands somewhere on your legs so the arms are not so heavy on the shoulders. Do you maybe want to lean against something after all? Go ahead and do that. So we're just looking to really create a little bit more the more supportive and helpful conditions to find a stillness practice. And then take a moment and observe for yourself on how, just maybe having really checked in with all of those points, maybe you didn't have to make any adjustment at all, maybe you didn't have to close the door, everything was just fine. But notice whether maybe just considering it all and just having a really good sort of look at everything and the level of your comfort might have shifted something already. Just the sense of how you're sitting here right now. And let's take a few deep breaths. And something I noticed that when I'm invited to take some deep breaths, or I invite others to take some deep breaths, there seems to be a kind of performance anxiety around it somehow. You're not taking those breaths for me, so take them for yourself, in your own way, your breaths. Doesn't matter how many, doesn't matter really how deep, but just a little bit deeper. Doesn't matter if you breathe through the nose or the mouth. Follow your intuition, follow your body. Your body will know what kind of slightly deeper breath it might want to take and how many. Take these deep breaths for yourself, just for yourself. Observe. What does that do? What does that exhale give you? And I can't know what it does for you, but for me, I'm just going to share. It sometimes just feels like with the exhale, it's like I'm taking a little step closer towards that inner quiet. Might not be quite there yet, but it just sort of feels like it opened one or two doors on the way to that inner quiet. It just put me a little bit closer through this quiet place on the inside. And that's not quite the stillness that I am talking about, but it's maybe also a step closer. It's a place of inner quiet where we can allow whatever is arising. So if you in your meditation actually find that you have a lot of thoughts running through your mind, then just let that be okay for today. That is part of what is right now for you. I sometimes sit in meditation and have a really good conversation with myself, and I will feel better for it afterwards. So it's all fine. Just let your thoughts be, if there are any. Maybe there are one or two things that you realize are even worth listening to. You don't have to listen to them now. You can listen to them later. And we've done this before. It might be a nice little technique, I might call it, to deal with your thoughts, is to respond to them with a quiet internal So if there's a thought coming up and arising, you let it be, you accept it, you acknowledge it, it's fine, it's there. And just acknowledge it with a little and observe what happens. So I will also be quiet now for maybe just 3 or 4 minutes for us to sit and keep observing what is on your way at the moment to stillness. Just keep observing. very gently begin to deepen your breathing with each slightly deeper breath. Feel a little bit more awake. And then when you're ready, allow a little bit of movement. Feel free to stretch if that's what your body wants right now. Maybe it wants to stay quieter. And feel free to open your eyes if they were closed. In his book, Rollin Becker quotes a little passage from a philosopher, Krishnamurti, talking of stillness, and I love how he describes that, what that stillness really is, which kind of comes down to something really not touchable and definable. And I just want to read that and share that. So the first bit is still Rollin Becker speaking. I discovered a very beautiful description of the stillness written by another Eastern philosopher, Krishnamurti. This man was listening to an artist playing a very complicated Indian musical instrument. The musician was playing beautifully, his hands were rippling across the strings. He was getting the right tone quality as a result of the right tensity on the strings and as a result of his plucking them correctly. The listener goes on to write. A strange thing was going on in the space which is the mind. It had been watching the graceful movements of the fingers, listening to the sweet sounds, observing the nodding heads and the rhythmical hands of the silent people. Suddenly, the watcher, the listener, disappeared. He had not been lulled into abeyance by the melodious strings, but was totally absent. There was only the vast space, which is the mind. All the things of the earth and of man were in it, but they were at the extreme outer edges, dim and far off. Within the space, where nothing was, there was a movement, and the movement was stillness. It was a deep, vast movement, without direction, without motive, which began from the outer edges and with incredible strength was coming towards the center, a center that is everywhere within the stillness, within the motion, which is space. This center is total aloneness, uncontaminated, unknowable, a solitude, which is not isolation, which has no end and no beginning. It is complete in itself and not made. The outer edges are in it, but not of it. It is there, but not within the scope of man's mind. It is the whole, the totality, but not approachable. I couldn't have said it better. So, yeah, intentions for 2021, welcoming the new year, what to do. There is so much healing to be done. And for me, I feel we need to come into our potency from where I believe things will manifest for us. And that is, well, quite a big word, potency, and I just thought stillness seems maybe a little bit more, comfortable. Something to maybe understand not only obviously with the mind, but also really within our body, with our being, with ourselves. So let's nurture more stillness so that we can really express our true nature. I would love you to comment, to ask questions, to share your experience and your view on this, your thoughts on this. As always, please do comment below the video. Be delighted to continue the conversation there. Thank you so much for joining today's sharing. Stay safe, stay warm. I believe most of you, wherever you're watching, it is quite cold, even here in, although sunny, beautiful Lisbon, it's quite chilly. Stay well, have a lovely weekend. Until next time.